All right, for all my game changers and people that just are going to keep going, you are the cavalry, my man and my ladies. Because the cavalry ain't coming. You're it. This is the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everett Brochures. And as far as the cavalry is concerned, if you are new to this channel, you're going to find out. Don't wait. This life is your life. Even if you've had people make promises that your life will be better, it's really ultimately up to you. You know, other people can, obviously support you along the way, but you got to do for you, and you can do for others. Secure your oxygen mask before, helping others, right? Helping those next to you. It's the same as they say, as far as like money doesn't buy happiness, but it can make sure you pay your bills. At least you won't have that stress, right? So you don't need to be ultra wealthy to be fulfilled and have a wonderful life. But the huge benefits for having a more fulfilling and wonderful life is be careful what you're overly attached to. And I don't just mean like your goals as far as like external things that you want to accomplish. Be careful with the perspectives you operate with them. Like the idea of, the unbound optimism. And I focus in on optimism often, mainly because so many people use that as a way to kind of insulate themselves from reality and what's going on in life. Now, yes, it does do your body better to have the desirable hormones that are released based off of, feeling optimistic about the future. And it's not a bad thing. It's just be careful with over attachment. So I'm going through, all of us are going through a lot in life. I too am going through a lot. There's a lot of major life changes and resets that are occurring. But my skill values and my trait values and adaptability is incredibly beneficial for me. I have reinvented myself multiple times in my life, but there's reasons for it, and it's always back to me. And I've gone through I've done a lot of different things in my life. I've got a lot of different things on my resume. But what always comes back is that I'm not fulfilling my purpose. I'm not doing the thing that will be the most fulfilling experience of my life. The thing that makes me the proudest of being alive, right? That I have lived a legacy opportunity. And I have realized that no matter how much money I've ever made, I've always had this thing pulling me back. Now, what I'm working on in this video today is purpose. So specifically, purpose. What is it that really will have you go through hell, right? What will have you go into, like Dante's Inferno is a great thing. Because like in Dante's Inferno, the woman of his dreams, is the love of his life, was taken to hell, and he descended into hell to save her. Now, there's a lot of ways to look at that, but one thing is that no matter what hell provided, the fights that may occur in their relationship or whatever, that hell was the analogy for the process of pushing through everything, is the love of his life was worth it all, and his purpose was to be with her. That was something that he had devoted himself to, and he was willing to push through everything. It's an amazing story. But we're in a society that when it comes to relationships, we'll do it superficially because we have the window shopping opportunities. It's easy. What are the tenets of a relationship that people are pursuing? Often it's sex. There's also, very commonly, it's just to avoid being alone. And a lot of times it's to avoid being alone with yourself. So few people have the ability to truly just sit in silence with who they are because of the ghosts that they have, or that Pandora's box is cracked open and they don't want to face it. So there's a lot of reasons for it. This is not a channel that's dedicated to relationships, although that is part of the maturity program or the maturity project. It's there. It's a combination of several areas of maturity. But the other elements, what would have you push through everything and anything to make a business work? What would be, what is your Dante's Inferno for business? Because it's not easy. And there are a lot of people out there that want to be successful, but they're trained into a system that success is crabs in a bucket. You just got to be the biggest, baddest crab. And it will always be somebody needs to be stood on for that person. They need to get one over. They need to be above and on top of the pyramid. But it's a stack of bodies under them, because that's what we're commonly conditioned for. We don't need that. We can work, and a lot of the entrepreneurs that rise very quickly are the ones that don't do that. They're the ones that understand those relationships that they're making are key. And then the ones that don't seem to serve them are not to be destroyed, dismissed, or destroyed, or whatever, discredited. It's that it may not work for us right now, but our future has a lot of opportunities associated with it, and I'm not going to kill it off. Henry Ford comes to mind often. Henry Ford surrounded himself with people to get opportunities that would be the experts in the room. He just knew how to delegate. He was awesome at delegating. He was a master level mastermind, because he knew how to get the right people together. And then from there, how to get them to all have a common direction. And it wasn't just money for him. And it wasn't just money for the people that he surrounded himself with. They were in a race to make the best vehicle possible. And they had something that they were the first to market, or I believe they were the first to market with large automotive distribution or manufacturing. No, they were fantastic about with what they've done. Forgive me for not having the exact history, but the mentality around it is something that I can speak into at the moment. I will brush up on the actual history, so if there's any indiscretions there or anything that would be inaccurate, please just bear with me, okay? But the point of it is that he knew how to get his people to see the objective. It was, what is it that we're going for? In the book, The Four Principles of Execution. It's an amazing book. I'm currently reading it, and I'll do that along the way too, is give you like what I'm currently reading through and all of that through the video series here as I continue on. So it's called a WIG. It's a wildly important goal. WIG, wildly important goal. He made his WIG the creation and distribution of these vehicles, and to make them reliable, because they were competing with horse and carriage. And the problem that motivated a lot of people was the excessive amount of manure that would end up in these cities where people would continue to go, and they had problems dealing with that. So, and the automobile was free of manure. So it wasn't that the automobile was significantly faster, and actually I believe it was slower than horses, but it was consistent, and it didn't need to be fed other than gasoline and the oil change, pretty much. And there was minimal by comparison. Didn't need a barn, stuff like that. There's a lot of benefits to it, but it was the replacement of the horse and carriage. So, but they also they knew others were working on things, and they wanted to beat it, so he knew how to pull them together. In business, what are you willing to do and create, right? What is your Dante's Inferno that you're going to go through? If somebody is successful in business, you can pretty much rest assured, if they created that business, they've gone through their own Dante's Inferno. They have. It was, and it also very well likely affected multiple parts of their life, and I would argue to say it did. It's not isolated. Growing and developing a business is stressful on relationships. It's stressful on the person. It affects their body, and often it affects their health to a degree. Sleepless nights. There's a lot of things that go into it that we're not taught. You're just not. You go to business school, you get a degree in business, and you're not taught that directly. You're just taught a lot of the other variables about business, but not the huge sacrifice that it goes into it, which going to school is a sacrifice. But the amount of sacrifice necessary to truly make a business work, yeah, that's a lot greater. That's a massive thing compared to, okay, I just do these things and that's it. You have to adapt your knowledge to the current environment, the real economy, not what you're taught the economy is when you're in college. So there's a lot of things that go into it that people aren't aware of. They look at it from the mile high view, and they're like, I understand all the variables necessary to be successful here. And then that's it. That's what they put their effort into, and that's how they think it's supposed to work out. And then if it doesn't, they're like, well, maybe I'm on the wrong path. No, they weren't conditioned to go into Dante's Inferno. So I like using things that are going to be like, the stories of antiquity or past, and especially the ancient wisdom. So I love using those because it's already, if you're aware of it, it's a prepackaged information set that has a variable set that you understand that, that this is how these things work. Oh, good for them. I love seeing that. It's a local business, a one-off coffee shop, and it has a line of vehicles. It looks 20 cars deep, maybe. Very glad to see that. Local business, a huge supporter. Yeah, so it's like, look, man, life is about all kinds of things. If you get used to, and this is why I caution about optimism, is if you get stuck on the idea that you're supposed to feel good all the time, well, what if you go through and what's required for you to be successful in your current goal or one of your goals? What if that is, it requires 6 months of constant stress, 8 months, a year, 2 years? If you don't know what's going to take that, you're going to think it's the wrong path, but your purpose is going to continuously make you uneasy in life if you're not pursuing it. So you may have a miserable life because you don't know how long it's supposed to take in order to be successful. But when you align purpose and you say, you know what, by the way, a huge benefit is that you have successful people around you. It does not need to be the same industry. Just look at it and go, hey, start talking to the successful business owners if it's business, and say, hey, you're an entrepreneur, you started this business. How long did it really take before you really, you started breaking even, or you got to the point you realized you're on the right track, or it hit, right? And you were no longer struggling to pay your bills. You actually had more than you needed, and you realized that it was time to grow. Start interviewing to find out what their hardships were so that you can say, okay, there is a variation of different timelines and different types of hardships. And then you can say, yeah, they struggled here, they struggled there. What was the lesson they got from it? Because they're fighting for success. And most of us are taught, don't fight. Fighting is wrong. Well, there's all kinds of different versions of fighting. Yeah, throwing up, in fists to punch each other. Well, if you're not in organized fighting, like martial arts, MMA, boxing, the defense arts that actually we go and watch because we want to see physical excellence, and we want to support somebody that is meaningful in our life, that we want to see them be successful. All of those reasons we go to watch those fights. So fighting is not bad. It depends on what it is applied to and what method is that fight. Same thing in relationships. There are different types of fighting. There's offensive fighting and there's defensive fighting in relationships. The offensive fighting is typically where you go into the other person's world and you're trying to take something from them. Often offensive fighting is going to come from something that's more of taking away from the other person. Now, there are versions of offensive fighting where you're trying to get over the other person's defense so that you can get closer to them. And it's hard to understand which one, what is the difference. So that's not easy to get. But on average, I'm more of the defensive fighter when it comes to relationships or anything else. Hey, I'm going to give you the relationship levels that I'm willing to give you and to live within. And if you try to overcome a defense that's protecting me from past pain and past hurt, or what the future could look like because this is an uncharted territory, then I'm going to push back enough to say, back up. And that's the fight would show up, and it comes from a subconscious level that says, hey, back up, you're making me uncomfortable here. And if the person obviously continues, then it's like, shit. Or they got past your defenses, you didn't realize it, you're trying to get them back out of the fortress. There's a lot of different things there. Now, if you don't know what the motive behind that type of fight is, then you don't understand the process of growth. There's a reason for the defense, and it may have nothing to do with the other person. It has to do with your history. And your history does not need, if it's new ground for you, you've been hurt before. You know what it's like. You don't want to be hurt again in this area that's new to you, because especially since it's new, we're like, this could destroy me. This could really cause me a significant degree of issues. So there's that, right? And business, when you're like, you know what, I'm killing myself. And people are like, just take a break. They don't realize you're actually in a fight. You're in a fight for success, and you're actually fighting against the skills that are holding you back and what you need to learn. It's a process. And if you get interrupted in it because somebody's coming to you with that love to get you to just calm down for a minute to relax, well, that might be the thing that stops you. So for me, I've got that Rocky Balboa value, man. I'm like, from the movie Rocky, I'm like, look, I might not win this fight, man, but the battle itself, like this battle may not win, but the war will be mine. I will get victory in this. And I'm fighting and fighting and fighting. And man, I got to tell you, I beat the hell out of myself. But I do it from the perspective that not only do I need to find success in my process to what I'm creating in my life, but I'm also the teacher. Like I position myself to be the teacher because I want to be able to offer my lessons in such a way that people can understand when they're learning them, that there is value through the struggle. There is a beautiful lesson in the challenge and not to get rid of the challenge. So many people say get rid of the challenge. For God's sake, don't do that. Just learn how to manage the challenge. I promise you, you will grow. Now, growth may not come directly with the next result being money. It is a stacking process. It will happen if it's business. And if it's a business that has never been found before, you're in the process. Give yourself the wonderful benefit that now you're likely first to market on that. But you have to keep learning. And you might be destroyed today, but that doesn't mean you can't put yourself back together. Dante's Inferno, man. You just have to understand what that is. You don't have to have the point of interest of Dante's Inferno be the woman he was after to save. It's your business. It's your life. If you can align your purpose with Dante's Inferno, you'll push through anything. Then you'll start figuring it out. If you're saying, Chad, I don't really get my purpose, that is good. You don't get it, but you're aware you don't get it. And you will. It will happen. Just keep keeping your mind open to it. And what you've tried and what you think is your purpose doesn't mean that it is, but it's a building block to get closer. Like for me, I felt my purpose was the gym industry, the fitness industry, because of my skill sets kept telling me, proof positive, you're really good in this. You can fix businesses. You can go into any gym and make it more profitable, no matter what it is. And I'm like, wow, that's actually, it made me feel really good. And it made me think, well, that's my purpose. It's not. My purpose is the Maturity Project. That is mine because, look, we're all suffering for different reasons. To me, we're all suffering because we're not mature enough to deal with the challenge that is creating that sensation of suffer. The hardship that you're dealing with. Well, that's what's being presented to you. The hardship that you're being presented with is a challenge, and the challenge is a gift of a lesson. And if you continue to work on that and come up with a solution, you will forever have that solution, which is the outcome of the lesson. And you will have grown as a person, specifically in that area, but also no area is isolated. How you are successful with business will graph into how you're successful with your romantic relationships. There are core tenets to everything. Consistency and patience, the hard work values and the actual acknowledgement of progress, the relief of it, the vacation concepts, all of that, all of it is value and it's important. It's a matter of when it's applied correctly. There's a formula to it. And you're learning the formula based off of the direction you're headed in. The variables are different, but the formula still remains the same. Faith that it will work. Well, faith is used in the absence of understanding structure and how it's supposed to be done. But you will have a launch point where you do have enough structure to at least understand what direction you're running in, right? The ramp, the two ramps, like Evel Knievel, right? You have the first bit of structure, you understand, you're going up that ramp, and then you're going to have there's nothing under me now. There's the momentum that I used to get airborne. And now it's a matter of, did I calibrate the right amount of speed based off all of the variables I'm aware of so that I can land the ramp and not get hurt? Well, you're going to get hurt in the process of learning how to do it, but you're going to start off small. You're going to start off with a smaller ramp, closer together. You'll start off with just getting used to the bike, right? Or whatever it is you're jumping the ramp with. You're just getting used to the machine, the vehicle that you're in. And then you get to the point where you're used to that with the momentum values, right? Popping up. So you know what it's like to actually have the weight coming off of it and then pulling it with you once that's come up. You know, so that you're learning those variables, that's still familiarizing yourself with the machine, but now you're using that with momentum so that you're getting more depth of understanding, so that when you do it, you'll get your first little jump. Could be 3 inches. It's just the ramp's here to here, and you want to land 3. And then you're like, okay, well, let me land a foot. And then you're like, let me land 2. Then it's 5. Then it's 10. And before you know it, you're becoming so conditioned into the formula to be successful that you can start reaching past, far past, what you have done before. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful how these things work out. I am in the process. Every day I am dedicated to coming up with content. And it is 6 days a week I'm shooting for content for production to be like put out. So 6 days is what I'm looking for with that. But on a 7-day basis, every day of the week, I'm coming up with concepts of what I want to work on so that I can start creating that content. So it's content creation. It's just the action of content is 6 days a week, but I'm doing it 7. You know, I'll write stuff down. I'll go through all kinds of things. Because, look, I love this, and I love you. So my love is support. My love is the insights that I'm offering. I'm not telling you this is the absolute truth. What I'm telling you is that this is the experiences that I've had and the insights that I've had, so that I can help give some viewpoints to give you enough encouragement to keep going. We struggle. We all do. I don't care where you are on the spectrum of success. We all struggle. It's just a matter of getting comfortable with it. Because as soon as you can turn the struggle into a game, you'll play it more. But you got to get there first, and survival is not a good way of actually playing the game, because you become, it's way too detrimental to you that you don't make any mistakes. Well, when you play a game, you are open to mistakes, because the mistakes cultivate you being better. You learn from them. It's a progress aspect. But when it's survival, is that $5 makes or breaks my month. And if I don't have that $5, my month is fucking ruined, right? That's survival. I won't make it if I don't get that $5, if that's not in my pocket by the end of the month. Well, when it's a game, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's $5, man. You know what? But I'd like to keep it, and I'd like that 5 to turn to 15, maybe 20. Oh, make it big. Make that 5 into 500, maybe 5,000. No, it's a game. Versus, I gotta survive, man. Your privilege values and making it something that you can engage with playfulness, which, by the way, is what a game is. It has a playfulness to it. The successful business people have gotten to the point that business has become more of a game to them. Now, a lot of them get bored because they get to a point they really are kind of capped out until they try something innovative for that particular industry, or take a big risk they may not just really be open to doing, because it might be just too big of a risk and take everything. But the gambler will do it. The people that like safety and security won't, typically. It's how open are they to risk, and what's with risk thresholds. But anyway, again, it's if you make this Dante's Inferno, you will encourage yourself to go through so much more than what you're willing to if you don't. Because no matter what, it will be successful. It's just a matter of what does success look like. And if you take the 8 different areas of maturity and apply that to your business structure, what you'll create will change industries. It will, because every industry seems to focus on the things that make them experts, and which is great. It's an expert of that direction. But imagine fulfillment with expertise. You get a lot of these people, man, they create all kinds of crazy stuff. You'll have some of the most successful people in the world, if I'm going to take business and add it to sexuality. So you've got business and you've got some of the most successful people in the world, Fortune 500 CEOs. And then but you find out that they have some sort of kink associated with it. They spend all day long, every day of the year, just the boss, right? They're making all the calls, they're doing all these things, and then you hear that they have a dominatrix, that they pay excessive amounts of money to treat them like they don't matter. to treat them badly. And that's the thing that gets them excited sexually. Well, why? Because they don't have the greater degree of fulfillment because of the consistent demand of the traits of being the boss. So that they're like, you know what, I have to have something valuing by contrast so that it produces more balance for me. And then they pursue that kink that diminishes them so that they feel balanced, because most of their life, or nearly all of their life, they are the person of absolute importance and the world for everybody below them in a Fortune 500 company. No, it doesn't have to be Fortune 500. Use that for an example to give you the bigger picture of it, or to give you more of an extreme. You get that stuff, and you get surprised when you find out. You're like, wow, that's crazy. Versus somebody that hasn't been able to even balance their budget even so much for a month, and you find out they're into it, you're like, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Oh, that's weird. The wow factor is that person's so incredibly successful. Really? Wow, that's weird. That's odd. I couldn't fathom it. That's why it stands out. But they likely didn't start there. That's something that in most likely that was something they developed over time because of the value by contrast, because they over-focused in one particular area or several areas, but they were still leaving themselves out of balance. And they had a great degree of immaturity in that. So now they have a way of getting some degree of fulfillment because they want a fulfilled life. Now, you can't neglect any area of maturity if you want a fulfilled life. You will have fulfillment in certain areas. But if you want the bigger fulfillment, all 8 areas. Just focus on developing them. They do not need to be aligned up with a perfect water level with each other. Just effort into each one of them. They grow at specific speeds too. It's not like they all grow at the same speed. If you do X, you end up with Y. That's not how maturity works. So if that's an idea you have, let's work that out right now. Let's get it out of there. Some things will be very, very quick. It'll be like, wow, that was easy. And some things will be like, I don't think this is ever going to change. Just keep working on it. So Dante's Inferno is the theme for today. Dante's Inferno is the story of purpose. The story of that was the purpose of love for him. And it meant everything to him. He would take himself through hell to save the love of his life and to bring her back from hell. The greatest sacrifice, right? He's willing to sacrifice himself to save her. Imagine if you could create your own Dante's Inferno's perspective on all areas of your maturity in every way of your life, and what that would do for you. Because you would give yourself so much more forgiveness, and your resolve to fight the thing that we keep getting taught that you're not supposed to do. Again, it's not just the fight of physical. There's a lot of ways that people are taught not to fight. Like, things shouldn't be that hard. It's okay. Just, you know what? That's not fair. When you hear that shit, do not accept it. Life isn't fair, and be good with it. Know that the fact that life isn't fair just means the wheel of opportunity isn't in your favor at the moment. The favor that it's giving you is that it's teaching you something. It just didn't give you the treasure yet. It didn't give you the valuable thing that you know is valuable. But when you get to the perspectives that I have, when that lesson's kicking your ass, that is incredibly precious. It is all valuable at that point. It's not just whether or not you got gold in your coffers, right? Your bank account, right? That's another term for that, whatever, coffers. But, that's the beauty of it. When you get to that place, you'll fight through everything. It doesn't matter. You'll keep going. But we're not taught this. We're taught get away from it. We're taught make things easy. No, there's something wrong if you don't have it right away. Don't get into that mindset. If you're in it, you're going to have to break yourself of it. It is a spell, and it's cast a spell on you, and it will disable you. You're giving away your power, because as soon as you say it's not fair, you're a victim. Don't be a victim. If you have to be a victim, learn from it and get out of it. Don't be back there, because every victim surrenders their power. They surrender their power. Because now they have a scapegoat for the frustrations and the upsets in their life. People do get victimized, but you don't have to put it in your mind that you're a victim. You can understand what people go through whenever they have hardships that end up at the point where people are like, you're a victim. I'm not shaming victims either. Grow from it. I'm obsessed with growth. There are plenty of people like, God, Chad, that is so horrible what that person did to you. And I'm like, you have no idea the lesson they gave me. You don't know what I just got out of that. How far am I going to take this lesson? Yeah, it sucks to lose things. It does, especially when you don't want to lose them. But I got to tell you, if you can turn that into a lesson, that thing will pay you back more than the thing you didn't want to let go of. It will be such an incredible gift to you. But you got to learn how to take that stuff and turn it into gifts. You know, it's the same concept as manure, right? It's shit. What benefit does shit have? Well, if you eat food, well before all this crazy ass advancements in agriculture and all the rest of that, man, we use manure to turn into the soil to give more nutrients so the plants can create better, bountiful harvest for us, and we'd eat it, you know? But that was because people realized what it could do for them. But if you're sitting there going, that shit has no value, yep, that's your shortcoming. That's not the shit's fault. That's your fault. You got to learn how to make sure that you know, hey, that's shit. That's good. That's actually good. What can I turn it into? How can I make that some wonderful opportunity for growth? That will change your life. I guarantee it. You will have a different life. Now, what that difference is, up to you. I can't tell you. I don't know, because I don't know you. I don't know how the variables are lining up. There's too many things I don't know, but I can tell you what I do know. It will change your life. Absolutely. So, all right, well, that's it. Share this video with the person in your life that you want to make a meaningful conversation with. You're starting to make changes, right? Let's get action associated with it. Share this video with them. Make a conversation that means something to you, that'll mean something to them. You want to make change in your life? Get your community involved enough. Because if that conversation's only in your head, it'll likely go to your grave. Get it out of your head and into the world. By the way, if they don't agree with you, remember I told you about shit, right? Learn how to turn it into something greater. But listen to them, right? Hear what they have to say. You don't know. Communication, man. What words we choose to use. Sadly, we may be all speaking the exact same language, but the definitions and the context to the definitions that we're using are not always understood. If you focus on your communication, you'll become powerful, because what you say makes more sense, and the more sense you make leads to dollars. All right. Again, share this video with people you want to make a difference with. Your life is your responsibility. Don't wait for the cavalry. You're it. Let's go. Like the video, help with the algorithm. Put a comment in the comment section. Start contributing to community. It's a little something. You don't need to put a bunch of stuff. Just put it out there. I'm working on something. Here's what it is. That's it. You don't have to get crazy with it. Just something. Say hi. Say hi in the comment section. Break the silence. Comment, okay? All right. Remember, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. This is dedicated to interrupt that path to hell. No more, right? We're not doing it. We're going to mature ourselves, and we're not going to create more pathways to hell. Got enough people doing it. We're going to interrupt it. That's what we're about. So, all right, that's it. It's a maturity project. I'm your host, Chad Everett Brochures. Let's get up to something, shall we? See ya.